I worked the overnight security shift at a large office building. 12 floors, 400 offices, 1 security guard, me. I've done this job for 3 years. I know every sound this building makes. The elevator settling. The HVAC cycling. The pipes in the east stairwell that knock when the pressure changes. I know all of it. So when I started hearing footsteps on the 11th floor at 3 a.m., a floor that has been completely empty and under renovation for 6 months, power cut, no access, I paid attention. I checked the elevator logs. Nobody had gone up there. I checked the stairwell doors. All alarmed, all sealed. And then my radio crackled and a voice said, very quietly, very clearly, stop looking. I know where your car is parked. My name is Derek. I am 38 years old and I have worked night security at the Harlan Building for just over 4 years. 12 floors of mixed commercial office space in the downtown core. The building runs full during the day, about 400 people across various tenants, and empties completely by 7 p.m. By 8 p.m. when my shift starts it is just me, the hum of the building systems, and 12 floors of dark corridors. I want to be honest about something before I tell you what has been happening. I am not a person who frightens easily. I am not someone who sees shapes in shadows or hears meaning in ordinary sounds. I chose night security specifically because I am comfortable alone in the dark in a way that most people are not. For years of this job and I have never once felt the urge to leave a shift early, never once called anyone in a panic, never once experienced anything I could not explain within 30 seconds of thinking about it. What has been happening over the past 3 weeks I cannot explain. It started on a Tuesday. The 6th floor of the Harlan Building has been vacant since March. A large tech firm that occupied the entire floor relocated and their lease ended. The space is being renovated for new tenants. During the day there are contractors. At night there is dust and plastic sheeting and the skeletal framework of a floor being rebuilt. At night there is also, apparently, something else. I heard footsteps at 3:14 a.m. My monitor station is on the ground floor. I have a bank of cameras covering every floor's main corridor and all entry points. At 3:14 a.m. I heard, through the 6th floor corridor camera's audio feed, a sound that was unmistakably footsteps. Not the building settling, I know that sound and it does not have a rhythm. These had a rhythm. Left right, slow and deliberate, moving from the east end of the 6th floor corridor toward the west. I checked the camera feed. The 6th floor corridor was empty. The motion-activated fluorescent lights, which trigger reliably for any warm body, were off. Whatever was making those footstep sounds was not triggering the motion sensors. I went upstairs to check. I have done this many times over 4 years. Investigated sounds, checked floors, found the mundane explanation and returned to my station. It is part of the job. I was not nervous. I took the elevator to 6, stepped out into the corridor, and switched on my flashlight. The overhead light stayed dark, no motion detected, confirming the floor was reading as empty to the sensors. I walked the corridor. Halfway down, just past the point where the renovation work had removed the interior walls and opened the floor into a wide raw space of exposed beams and plastic sheeting. I heard footsteps. Behind me. Matching mine perfectly. Left right. The same pace, the same weight, the same rhythm. One step behind me. No more, no less. As if calibrated. I stopped. The footsteps stopped. I started walking again. The footsteps started. Same pace, same distance, same precision. I spun around. Empty corridor. My flashlight sweeping the full width of it, the plastic sheeting hanging still, the dust undisturbed on the exposed concrete floor. And then I saw the motion sensor at the far end of the corridor click on. Not where I was standing. Not where I had been walking. 40 feet behind me, at the east end of the corridor where I had entered. The sensor that only triggers for body heat. Glowing red, active, indicating a warm presence in its range. There was nothing visible in its range. I am a rational man. I thought about this carefully in the moment, standing in that dark corridor with my flashlight and my radio and my 4 years of professional composure. Motion sensors malfunction. Electrical faults trigger false positives. Old buildings have quirks. I had a reasonable explanation. I wrote it in my incident log and went back to my station. The next night, at 3:14 a.m. exactly, it happened again. Same time. Same floor. Same footsteps behind me, matching my pace, stopping when I stopped. Same empty corridor when I turned. Same motion sensor lighting up at the far end. 3:14 a.m., precisely. I am a methodical person. Patterns matter in security work, patterns mean information. I started paying attention. Night 3, 3:14 a.m., 6th floor, footsteps, empty corridor, motion sensor. Night 4, identical. Night 5, identical. Night 6, the footsteps came closer. Not one pace behind me. Half a pace. I could hear the difference, the sound arriving sooner after my own steps, the gap compressing. Whatever was matching my walk had moved closer without me seeing it move. On night 7 I stopped walking and stood completely still in the middle of the 6th floor corridor and waited. The footsteps took 3 more steps after I stopped. 3 steps of their own. Not echoes. Not my steps reverberating off the walls. 3 additional steps in the silence after I halted, each one distinct, each one closer, and then silence. Something had walked 3 steps toward me in the dark. I requested a second guard for my shift. My supervisor approved it without asking questions. Budget is tight, but she is a reasonable woman and I have never made a frivolous request in 4 years. A guard named Phil came in for 3 nights. Phil heard nothing on nights 8, 9, or 10. The footsteps did not come while Phil was there. Phil returned to his regular assignment. Night 11. 3:14 a.m., 6th floor. The footsteps came back. But this time they did not stay on the 6th floor. I was at my monitor station when I heard them. Through the camera feed, clear and rhythmic, but the sound was wrong in a way that took me a moment to identify. The acoustics were different. Not the open concrete of the 6th floor renovation. I checked the camera feeds one by one. The footsteps were on the stairwell camera. Moving downward. Floor by floor. 5th. 4th. 3rd. 2nd. I was on the ground floor. I stood up from my station. The stairwell door, 10 feet from where I was standing, opened. I am telling you the truth when I say I did not run. I gripped the edge of my desk and I did not run. The door opened fully, swinging wide on its hinges, and the stairwell beyond was dark and empty and the footstep sound stopped and the building was completely silent. And then my radio crackled. Static. The particular hiss of an open channel. And in the static, faint but structured, not random noise but something with the rhythm and cadence of speech, too distorted to make out words, lasting about 4 seconds. Then silence. My radio operates on a closed frequency. Only my supervisor and the building management system can transmit on it. My supervisor was home asleep. The building management system transmits only automated maintenance alerts, which are logged and time-stamped. There was no transmission logged at 3:14 a.m. on night 11. I have been in this job for 4 years. I have 2 years left on my contract and I need the income and I am not a person who quits things. So I am still working the Harlan building. But I have made changes. I no longer do physical checks of the 6th floor. I monitor it by camera only. I have installed additional motion sensors at my own expense and connected them to my phone. I have reviewed every hour of camera footage from the 6th floor going back 6 months and found nothing, no figure, no presence, no explanation for what the audio captures every night at 3:14 a.m. Because it is still happening. Every night. Same time. Same floor. Footsteps that match mine when I walk toward them and stop when I stop, and have, over the past 3 weeks, moved from the 6th floor to the 5th floor to the 4th floor to the stairwell. Getting closer. 1 floor at a time. Methodical. Patient. Last night was the 3rd floor. I have done the math. At this rate, whatever is descending through the Harlan building 1 floor per week will reach the ground floor in 8 days. I work alone on the ground floor. And I have started to notice something new. When I sit at my station in the silence of 3:15 a.m., the minute after the footsteps stop, my monitor feeds show a very faint motion blur on the camera closest to my station. Not on the 6th floor. Not on the stairwell. On the camera directly above my desk. Looking down at me. If you work alone at night, count your footsteps. And if you ever hear one extra, don't turn around. New AI horror story every single day. Subscribe so you never miss one. Comment below, would you quit this job?